right, hello everyone. Welcome to Consultant Spotlight, a show where we take a look behind the curtain to help you get to know us and our consultants a little bit better. My name is John Hovey, and today I will be speaking with Dawn Alexander of Colorado Child Care Consultations. We'll take a look at what's going on in her industry right now, and we'll have a time to answer all of your questions as well. So, in the spotlight today, Dawn Alexander. As I mentioned earlier, Dawn's an expert in the field of childcare. She runs her own firm, Colorado Child Care Consultations, and she is our North Metro SBDC childcare consultant and instructor as well. She taught 2 of our childcare provider business fundamentals classes in 2020. Great success, and we're looking forward to some more of those this year and growing that program as well. And I see a few of our former students in the audience today, so that's great. Dawn, let's get on with the show. How are you?
I'm good. And how are you, John?
Doing really well. It's great to see you. Great to have you on today. What we'll get to your background in a second, but what's hot in the world of childcare? What should people be paying attention to this week in the news? What's going on?
This week is big news for childcare providers because Governor Polis decreed that every childcare provider in the state of Colorado that's licensed could get a COVID vaccine starting this past Monday. So the implementation of that is a bit challenging, as you can imagine, and every local health department was given the task of accomplishing that. So Tri-County Health is the one for the northern metro area to provide support for that vaccine. I was reviewing their list, their website. Anyone can go there and look at all of the information. They do a good job of updating their COVID information about vaccines on a regular basis. And they do have a document there that gives a list of different medical providers that do vaccines. They also have a map that shows locally and statewide who is giving vaccines. So you do need an appointment to do that. And I do recommend that you get on as many lists as possible to get that accomplished. I also work in Weld County at the health department, and they instituted a system that has made it possible for all home providers to be able to get their vaccines. Which is a little bit different than what's happening in Adams County. So you kind of have to be really patient and really persistent, but you'll get it done.
Nice. Well, that is exciting. And I know, we talked to Tri-County quite a bit. They're partners with us at North Metro. And so their website is TCHD for Tri-County Health Department.org. And they do have a lot of resources on there. That's wonderful. Are there any updates or news or requirements for COVID testing as well in the industry, or is it just vaccine that they're focused on?
Well, as far as testing, if anyone wants testing, the Office of Early Childhood has sent out information to every provider about how they can access free testing weekly if they're interested. So you're welcome to tap into that as well. You guys are close to the metro area, so some of that is accessible to you a little more than some people out further in the state. But if you're interested in doing that, you certainly can. Really, it's all about watching the symptoms, right? If you see any kind of symptom or indicator that you possibly have COVID or someone in your care does, then you definitely need to be vigilant about that. Also, if you do get the vaccine, I'm just gonna say, having done that myself, last week was my second vaccine, and it was pretty challenging for me. Some of my coworkers had no issues at all. It knocked me down for a good couple days. So just be prepared in that or for that as you schedule so that you can be off on the weekend, off for the weekends and not feeling so good, maybe on that time versus needing to cancel care with your families.
Yeah, that's a good heads up. We're hearing similar. I have a friend, and when she got the first dose a couple weeks ago, no big deal, having fun. Second dose, not having fun.
No, yeah. Right. They say just think, oh, it's working.
That's right. That's right.
You know, great.
The proteins are happening. some science in there.
Yeah.
How'd you become a consultant? What was your path to this industry, and what do you love about it? What keeps you going?
You know, I started in childcare years ago because I was the mom. I was a manager in Arapahoe County, and every day at lunch break, I would go over to the childcare center and make sure my kids were asleep and put them to sleep and all of this during my lunch hour. And I just thought, this is crazy, you know? And so I quit my job and started a licensed family childcare program. And my kids grew up in that. And one day I realized like none of the kids around me were my kids. And so from that, I moved on to childcare licensing through Red Rocks Community College and worked there a little over 3 years. Currently work in Weld County, but really felt compelled to be able to help more than just the residents of Weld County. And so I started a consulting business about a year and a half ago, 2 years now, somewhere in there, and started working with ECPAC in Adams County and have had an amazing relationship with them, providing some systems building support. And from there, I've been working with the State Family Child Care Association, Clayton Early Learning, and met you guys through my relationship at ECPAC. And so that's how I came on board here and got to be a part of the great programming that's happening here for childcare. And as far as why I do it, childcare professionals are the best people on earth, hands down. Like, I love working with them. They have a passion for kids and they have amazing hearts, and they will give and give and give, right, to their families. Almost to their own detriment at times. And so that's where some of our class comes in, is like helping people to identify like where to draw a line and where to make yourself a priority and your business a priority over the people that you're serving sometimes. And so I love it because they're always looking to learn more and to be better, and they're great people to serve. So that's why I do it.
Ah, that's wonderful. So one thing I hear a little bit from clients, and not necessarily in the childcare industry, but in all of our industry, is, you know, I'm not ready to book an appointment with a consultant. And I'm just curious, you know, since you are in the consultant seat, what would you say to that client who says, I'm not ready to book an appointment yet? You know, I just have X, Y, and Z that I got to get in a row first.
So you're not ready to have a conversation about your business? I know I personally learn really well from conversing with someone else, right? Sometimes before you actually take an action step, it helps to have a conversation and really start to think about like, where do I want to go with this? And the great thing about consulting is you don't have to figure it out by yourself. Like, I would not be there to tell anyone how to do anything in their business, but if I can challenge you with some things to think about, broaden your horizon a little bit on what some of your options might be, then all of a sudden you have more options available to you and more opportunities available to you. And so I say, have a conversation.
What's the risk? You can only learn.
Right. I'm so mean. It's so scary.
That's one thing that we have not heard. I can say that. Nobody has come back and said, my session was no good. My consultant was really mean. All of our sessions are confidential, and so obviously we need to respect that. But I'm wondering if you can share maybe a story of a client without necessarily saying names, just so that you know, if someone is on the fence about booking an appointment or something like this, they could understand the benefit that they might see.
I would love to. There's one particular woman I have in mind. Amazing, amazing person, and definitely one of those who served others to an extreme, right? To such an extreme that she actually had, she asked for a consultation appointment at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. And she's like, thank you so much for meeting me so early. And she said because she was getting ready to go into work at her second job. And I was like, wait a minute, tell me a little bit about that and why, if you have a house full of kids during the day for 10, 11 hours a day, Monday through Friday, why you have to go and work somewhere else on Saturday. And so it started a really great conversation. And we proceeded to discuss like how sustainable is that for you, from a health perspective, from a financial perspective, all of that. And are there some things that you can do to your program to tweak it so that it sustains you Monday through Friday, and that you get your weekends off to enjoy for yourself? And I am so proud of this person because she stood up and transformed her business and said, you know what, I do get to make myself a priority. This is not just babysitting. This is an actual business. And if I structure it a specific way, it will do what I need it to do for me and for my family. Yeah, and so she stepped out and she was very courageous, very adventurous, and she did it. And so I'm happy to say at the end of December, she resigned from her second job. And so it's pretty great to watch someone on their journey and to come out of that and to be really proud of themselves and to know they did a good thing for themselves and for their business.
That's wonderful. Wow. Oh, that's really great.
It's my favorite story right now.
Oh, thanks for sharing. Can you talk a little bit about the classes that we've been doing at North Metro, childcare business or childcare provider business fundamentals?
Sure. We start the class initially with just a conversation about what that particular group needs from the class. Every group that we have that comes in is very different in the dynamics and who it is and what their needs are, how long they've been in the profession, that sort of thing. And so we really talk with them at length about what they're hoping to get from the class so that we can tailor what we offer to their specific needs. There'd be nothing worse. Like these guys work, like I said, 10 and 11-hour days. So to then have them go to a class where we're talking about something that's completely not relevant to them would be a very frustrating experience. So we are very intentional about not doing that. And so we work with our students, our participants, and they interact with us on a regular basis throughout the class. They have access to free consulting in between sessions, and once they've completed, they can continue to reach out for consulting. We help them to understand the time-space percentage in their business and the financial side of things. And honestly, for some people, it's just putting on that hat of business owner, right? People have been doing this for years and never considered themselves to be an actual business. And part of the blessing out of COVID is it's helped our industry to fully understand they are working businesses. And we're really learning about the true impact of that business on the industry, on the workforce industry nationwide. And so that's a great thing for us to be looking at. But really, we move along. We talk about finances. We talk about business structure. Like, are you structuring your days the way that it best benefits you? Is your program still the right group of people that you're serving that meets your needs? Is there a different model that you could consider? Do you want CCAP contracts? Do you want food program contracts? The pros, the cons, all of that. We just sit down and have a conversation about it and work through the details of everything. We have great guests that come into the program and talk about insurance and legal structure and you name it, like marketing. If we see someone that has a need in that specific area, we're going to pull someone in to have that conversation with the group. How's that?
Oh, that's great. That's a perfect summary. And it's a great program, and we're continuing to develop it, but the feedback has been pretty encouraging as well. I think that people did get a whole lot out of it, and as we move into the next one, we'll grow that program even more and make it Make it better.
Sorry.
That's funny.
If I block them from the room, they scratch on the doors. There's no winning.
It wouldn't be a webinar if there wasn't at least one baby or one dog or something like this. All right, pie in the sky question, Dawn.
Okay.
Someone comes to you and they're a wealthy donor and they've got 50,000 that they want to put towards improving the childcare industry or your consulting specifically. How would you spend it and why?
Well, my consulting business is also going to offer support to another business that I'm starting, which is Childcare Connections, a substitute care program, substitute care and staffing program for the childcare industry. So honestly, I would hire someone to work under my consulting business to take on training responsibilities so that if my substitutes were interested in free training, they could access that on their own time through my consulting business. And so I would just immediately go, score, done. So that's what I would do.
All right. What would you say, what's been the biggest failure in the childcare industry in the last year?
You know, the failure in our industry is something that's been going on for more than a year. I mean, in the last year, they're trying to figure out how to rectify it, but really, we're losing licensed homes in exponential numbers. And so we're really struggling to get people into home-based businesses and support them there in a way that they feel effective and really enjoy being in the industry. Some people stay and stay for a long time, but a lot of people come and go very quickly. And so I think really that's part of why the SBDCs were tasked with getting involved in the industry and supporting those homes, because they really, really have been struggling. And we're excited also to be able to extend our program out to centers in the community this coming year, some other populations to try and expand what we're offering and support the industry as a whole. But we cannot afford to lose family child care homes. They are the primary caregivers for infants and toddlers in our communities. And if they go away, there are not a lot of centers that are willing or able to do infant care. It is just not cost effective for them, and that will leave a lot of families in the lurch if we keep losing them.
Yeah, it's not an easy business model, and it's certainly not an easy job.
No, they're heroes.
What, let's see, I'm looking at my list of questions to see what else I want to ask. That one was pretty heavy. Well, here's a personal question, if I may.
Okay.
You know, how do you stay motivated and inspired?
I want to impact people's lives in a very positive way. And so if I can, that's really why I'm starting the staffing business, because if I can help someone see their own potential and equip them as a professional to stand up in that industry and find their own path, and do that successfully at a cost-effective, time-effective way, then I've done something really great for that person. And to me, that makes a difference. Like I just love doing that. And then of course there's the ripple effects and understanding how their work goes out and positively impacts children and families and our community as a whole. But I believe that I was put here for a purpose, and serving people is that purpose. And so I try to wake up every day and do that to the best of my abilities.
Some pretty inspiring words. Well, I'm going to turn to our audience for a second and see if anybody has any questions to type in. I'm looking at the panel right now, and it's empty. So if anybody has any questions, do send those in. And gosh, I don't know. Any other questions that you want me to ask you? Or do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. Yeah, here's the awkward silence, right? I don't
Yeah,
know. I just know, like, if people are out there struggling with anything, I just encourage them to connect with any of our consultants to get support with that. Anytime I hear, because of my work with you guys, anytime I'm out there and I hear anybody and any kind of business that's struggling, I'm like, you know who you need to call. So I send them to their local SBDC for free consulting. There is just no reason to not get support. We are not in this world alone. And so you need to connect to your community supports and find ways to move forward, because no one should be sitting in anything that's frustrating or yeah, don't sit in a frustrating situation. Do something about it.
love it. Hey, we got some questions. This first one comes from Amber, and she wants to know, Dawn, what do you feel is your biggest accomplishment?
Truthfully, my biggest accomplishment I'm looking at, because my oldest is going on 20 and my second child is going on 18. And when they become young adults like that, you start to see, like, oh, it's not so much about the mistakes you made, but the way you did the right things with them. It's pretty, it takes my breath away to watch them function as adults in our society, and to know that I had a big part in that. Like, I don't think there's anything bigger for anyone, truthfully. Businesses are great, and they fund our life, and I'm pretty proud of the life I have right now. So yeah.
Congratulations, that's wonderful.
Thanks.
I'm also seeing Krista wants to know, what's your best piece of advice during the pandemic?
It's hard. It's super hard to tell families that they need to quarantine or anything else. But if you don't defend your front line at your front door and make sure that you meet all the criteria to keep everyone healthy and safe, if you don't do that, the ripple effect through your entire program can cause you a great deal of physical, emotional, and financial harm. And so, as difficult as it is to tell someone, okay, we have to do a 2-week quarantine, everyone go home, I'm sorry, we'll work it out. Or to tell a family that they have to do 10 days and then 10 days on top of that because the child was around someone exposed, like, to keep them out of your program for 20 days just to be a protective factor in your own business. That's a hard thing to do, but it is well worth doing, because the ripple effect otherwise is so great that you're going to lose a ton of money, and it's going to cause even more stress. So talk with your health department, talk with ECPAC, the early childhood council in your area, and the Broomfield Early Childhood Council. Just connect with those people and really get some support on how to do COVID well as anyone can.
Yep. And I remember something we talked about in our most recent classes, having those conversations with your parents in advance so that it doesn't have to come to a crisis point. Everybody should
Well,
know.
and including who's paying when, right? Yeah. So.
Yep, communication, very, very important. All right. Well, thank you, Krista. Thank you, Amber, for those questions. And oh, here is a comment. I could never give Dawn enough credit for the personal growth she helped me through. SBA classes taught me so much. And that's from Penny. So
You know what, Penny? And this goes for everyone. Personal growth only comes if you put personal effort into it. And so I'm super proud of everyone who attends and steps out and makes a difference in their program and shapes things to function better for them. So good job, you guys.
Yeah, really good job. Well, I'll tell you what, I think we should wrap up this episode of Consultant Spotlight. That's a great place to leave things, don't you think?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you, Dawn, so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It's been great to talk to you and get to know you a little bit better. And thank you for our audience, everyone who tuned in, made a little time today. We really appreciate it. And for those of you who might not know, this has been brought to you by the North Metro Small Business Development Center. Our mission to help existing and new businesses to grow and prosper. We do that with free one-on-one consulting. And so you can visit us at northmetrosbdc.com. Oh, I see one more question. When will North Metro have another class? Dawn, do you want to announce it?
We just picked that date. And so we're going to do a next round is going to be for centers. And we are looking at March 8th will be the start date of that. We'll have an orientation week and then 6 weeks after that. We're also looking at, like in summer, the possibility of doing a 201 for some of our other students if they're interested in that, and also a startup type of program. And then in the late fall to beginning winter, we'll do yet another round of classes. So be on the lookout for who that's for.
Yep, absolutely. And if you're not on our email list, then actually by registering for this webinar, we'll add you to our email list. And so you will get updates on that. And you can always visit our website, northmetrosbdc.com. It'll have the latest announcements. But yeah, we're very excited about that springtime class coming up. And as always, our consulting appointments are free. So you can also access the calendar and book an hour with Dawn or any of our consultants and
probably
have
put
that.
some dates on there. I'm like, whoops, I need to update my calendar.
We'll make sure. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dawn, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Take care.